Hello and welcome to an episode of My Little Podcast. This week, we're excited to get to some videos, but first, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Gary. This is my wife, Shelly.
Hello.
And my son, Bryson.
Hello. Our cheeky little sponsor comes from
let's do
our MyLittleHomestead website. Emer's shop has a bunch of t-shirt designs and a bunch of beanies, hats.
Are there bibs?
Cool.
Yeah,
there are
bibs and
might
baby
be
clothes. And
There's aprons.
yeah.
Aprons. I always thought the glue apron was so cool because it's like glue, and then like you could do arts and crafts, and you could be in an apron. I always thought that would be a really fun thing.
And it's Christmas coming up. You might want to think ahead. I think in our family, we almost have the Christmas shopping done. Is that right?
Maybe.
My goodness.
I got
you
a
have
lot.
been on the stick this year.
Yeah, more than I ever have my whole life. So yeah.
I haven't even begun with my Christmas shopping yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you my list later. Okay, well, let's take a look. We had Wednesday's video, which was Garen and Ellie. They put out a video on the van.
Yeah, they put in that butcher
Countertop?
block countertop with their pallet expertise.
Oh, yeah.
Just amazing the things that they're doing with pallets. And they put together another one of those countertops.
That sure is amazing to me how those countertops turn out. You know, they just look amazing. And to think that that was just old discarded wood that no one wanted is amazing to me.
The beauty that I find too is those different color of woods when they get them sanded down and stained, and how they just pop. I guess sanded down in polyurethane, they pop.
They really do.
Amazing.
Hey,
Yeah.
A lot of them are made from hardwoods. So you're getting some woods that are just a little harder than old pine or...
So what does
fir.
that mean? Does that mean it's a prettier wood? What does that mean?
I think that means that the grain is tighter together, and with the grains being tight like that, that's kind of adds to its hardness.
And isn't it true like a hardwood tree is like there's a difference between evergreen and deciduous? Is a difference too between the woods?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have big differences, and you can have like a pine tree, which would have a lot of knots in it. But then you might find an oak that won't have as many knots in it.
Oh, okay.
So, and knots all come from branches. So that's how you get a knot in the wood. It's from a branch. So.
I know I've gotten knocked with a branch.
Yeah, how many times have we seen that? I've hit a few myself.
Quite a knot, I'd say myself, but
So.
yeah.
Well, hey, Swift Death 84 says here, I've been watching.
Wait a second.
What?
So you do have a knot in your head that came from a branch.
Oh, yeah. It's quite a knot myself. Yeah.
Is that what you were saying?
I mean, sure, let's go there. Yeah, I was saying that now. I actually wasn't sure what I was saying, but that good. Yeah.
Did it not any sense into you?
It didn't make not sense.
It made not sense. All right. Well, Swift Death 84 says here, I've been watching you guys for years. Such an inspiration in my own home projects. Can I ask, and yes you may, how do you deal with the nails in the pallet wood? Do you cut through them and try to avoid them where possible? Yeah. We just kind of incorporate it into the design sometimes. Yeah. It does mean you're going to go through a couple of blades. That's the tough part. It does take, and sanding and stuff. It's a little harder on some of the... It's not so much harder on the equipment themselves, but just the cutting and the sanding. Those surfaces do get kind of whacked a little.
And they fall out naturally on their own too. Through the process of using them, pretty soon they'll.
You know, that being said
out.
too, I was over there looking at their countertop, and they left the nails, the ones that had stayed in there, and I actually thought that was a really cool look because you had this wood and you had these little dots that were the ends of the nails throughout the wood, and I don't know.
The actual nail was
the
in
actual nail. Now they didn't do it long ways. They did, the cut off part of it, but they sanded it down and they incorporated it into the countertop. And I honestly thought that was very neat and cool because part of the history of those pallets is they had nails put into them. As it goes on in the future here, it will look cooler and cooler because it kept part of that history. I don't know if you've seen any like videos of people looking at really old wood and you can still see the nail marks that were in it and what they used back then to do that kind of thing. Well, that's the same concept. We probably won't change the concept of a nail, but if we did, then having that there is going to mean something.
Probably just stronger glue.
Stronger glue.
All right, Stacy Wilson says here, do you record your own music? If you do, you have some awesome talent. On occasion, we do record some of our own music. So
the intro is you on the guitar.
Yeah.
After you
I've done a couple other little pieces that we've had in videos. So time is the killer of trying to create that. I know people have also mentioned all those instruments behind us here in the set. And it's like, I get over there maybe once a month if I'm lucky sometimes. But I do enjoy it. It's one of my favorite things.
Many people don't know this, but I have an upright piano in my room. Do I play it? No. Is it tuned? No. But it's in my room.
And you know how to play it.
And I know how to play it if I sat down. But,
we're kind of throwing around this idea. I need to talk more with Bria about it too, of doing, we always like to do some little live stream around Christmas time, and we thought maybe we would do, like a Christmas Carol live stream or something. We've been tossing around that idea.
That would be fun.
It's kind of a little different.
A Christmas Carol live stream. I like that.
Yeah.
Just do it right in here.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, we've got about 1 million comments on this next one. A lot of likes and everything else, too, here. It's, Gary, are you using the stove cutout as a chopping board, for cutting up vegetables? It would work great as a chopping board or a cutting board. And, yeah, they did. As a matter of fact, we had a meal over there. Mm-hmm. And I saw that very cutout on the countertop.
Really?
So, yeah, they were using it. So
that's smart.
Yeah, it's kind of cool what they can do with the cutouts of things and reuse things. It's something that we do often.
They're always so creative the way they reuse things, especially the pallets. Very fun to watch. Garen and Ellie and Azalea and Kinsley all work together to make something really cool and creative.
Somebody had made a comment here about Azalea's Andy Panda, the Big Daddy-O. 1967 says, Azalea's Andy Panda, and he gives a big heart. I still have mine from 53 years ago.
Oh, that's that little panda bear
that little panda that she has.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's one of her favorites.
It is her favorite, yeah, I'd say.
When I go over there, and in her room, she has a bunch of books on the wall, and there's one that has a panda in it, and when I pick that one up, I just know she's going to start talking about that panda because that's like her favorite because there's a panda in the book. It's really cool that Big Daddy-O has 1967, which is probably an indication of when he was born. But if I take my shoes off, I can count it up. But Azalea's Andy Panda, I still have mine from 53 years ago. It's really cool that Big Daddy-O. It's so cool.
You think about the fact that it's Big Daddy-O, I'm proud of you to admit that. Be like
Big Daddy-O's got a little panda. I love it. It's really cool.
Good for you.
So, thank you.
That's cool.
Well, our second video that was put out this week was done on Friday. And it had us messing around with that ceiling.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was quite the experiment. I really like the ceiling. It's kind of grown on me. I like it a lot. I was looking at that ceiling, and Garen mentioned this. He goes, it'd be really cool to get that kind of gloss floor for like a shop floor. Like, they do. He was talking about like those marble floors, and I guess this looks similar to that. And I go, that's really cool. Wouldn't that be cool to have it on our shop? We do that kind of floor. I mean, we probably can't use the wood for that floor. That wouldn't make any sense. But maybe we can get the cement to gloss like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, you wouldn't want. Cool. I don't think you'd want white either. You're not talking about white. You're just talking about the gloss.
Just the glossiness. Yeah, probably maybe a black or something that's not going to stain.
They've got
as easily. Hopefully,
they got quite a few polymers and stuff that we'll be able to stick on there to make it glossy. I don't want it too glossy because when it gets wet, it's slippery. So you have to have a little bit of safety for that reason. But and Garen talked my ear off about that. That same conversation.
Yes.
He was like, "Oh, Dad, I've been watching all these great videos. These guys come in and they do these real expensive floors, and they're just beautiful for these big guys. Want their really cool shops all detailed out and everything." And they do this like faux marble floors. And I'm going, well, if they're so rich, why don't they just put real marble in? It's like, but yeah, well, anyway. But for us, we're gonna look into it. It'd be marble or some kind of something in there.
I really marvel at the idea.
Yeah, I marveled that you marbled at it. So
yeah.
I think you guys lost your marbles.
I think we have lost our marbles for sure.
Speaking about losing our marbles, we had this idea for the shop. Since we might as well continue the shop since we're talking about it. And we wanted. I was talking about this to Dad, and I think we really should do this. A pressure washer system that's in the walls. So just like you can have an air system that runs throughout the walls and a vacuum system that vacuums up all the dust that can run throughout the walls, I was thinking a pressure washer system, a high pressure line that can run throughout the shop would be kind of neat, so that we can just take basically a hose and plug it into the wall and have pressure washer and be able to clean stuff around the shop, including the floor of the shop and even inside the shop. Since there will be drains and stuff put into the floors, it would be kind of nice to
Wouldn't you be
incorporate
concerned,
something
though,
like that.
about possibly getting your tools wet or things that you wouldn't want
It
wet?
might be something that you put, well, you mean as far as spraying in there?
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be, a lot of it is going to be between those two walls that are just a brick and block.
Okay.
That won't be a problem, I think, as far as a wet area. And probably if we're going to have a wet area, that'd be it.
Yeah.
I'd feel a little uncomfortable having a wet area up there by the tools that we use for wood.
Yeah, agreed.
Wood stuff.
Okay, so you're just talking
And maybe even a line. Maybe the lines go outside too around the building, like one in the like front, one in the back, at each entrance, so we can plug something in and clean the entrance off, whatever it is. It's cement patio, whatever we do on the outside.
Out there in the front too might be a good little spot to set up something.
Those would be real nice.
And they would be external lines to a pump. In other words, external meaning not in the walls. I think I would feel more comfortable to have high pressure
Outside the
water
wall?
outside the walls, so that if we get a leak, it's easy to find and easy to fix.
Yeah, that would probably be a good decision.
And we'd have to
something
probably
like that.
use iron pipe, and it would have to be a pretty hardcore system. But yeah, let's think about that.
We'll have to
That'd be cool.
stationary the pressure pump in a certain area, so we don't have to run so many lines too long.
Yeah.
So we can try to minimize the cost of what it might cost.
And
to
the
do that.
water gone. The wonderful thing about Weebles is they don't fall down. Now, the wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only
Tiggers.
one.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so
I'm confused. Is this like an old
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
joke of some
Yeah.
kind? That
It's just an old song.
an old
do you know
song.
who Tigger is?
No.
I thought we raised him up on Winnie
the Pooh?
And Tigger
Tigger?
too.
Oh.
You had a Tigger painting in your bedroom when
Yes,
you were
you
little.
were, that's why.
I'm
You
Probably
registering
scared it to
now.
death, and he just got bad memories. Can't
Dad painted a big Tigger on your wall.
because you were like a
Because
Tigger.
we thought you were very tiggery,
Bouncing
bouncy,
in there,
bouncy,
boom, boom,
bouncy,
boom,
bouncy, bouncy, fun.
The
Sorry.
wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one. Yes, I'm the only one. You don't remember that? That's the song singing it to you.
That just fell so flat.
Yeah.
That was so flat.
I
Sorry.
was rolling with you, hon. I know what
baby,
you're talking
that's
about.
okay.
I wasn't.
Well, it was actually in relationship
Sorry.
to this comment here. Kathy Rigg says, I love it when Shelley came out and sat down with a bucket of popcorn and watched the guys work. Smart lady. So, yeah. Matt Evans Koch says, that is the mark of a professional supervisor. So you're absolutely
I have to say,
correct.
the only bummer about that shot was, though, I had all 3 dogs around
She
me. I was feeding them throughout the whole time, and for some reason the camera was up too high and missed that. So
Just missed all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were feeding the dogs popcorn as you ate.
yeah, they were really enjoying it. All 3 of them were just.
Mom was all worried. She's like, they're gonna see me eat like this half container of popcorn, and I told her, I said, that's only about a cup of kernels. That's really not a lot. That if you smashed all that popcorn back down, it would only turn into a cup.
That's
So
true.
really,
that's true.
it's not as much.
That's 3/4 of a cup makes that whole bucket.
3/4 of a
But I
cup.
was waiting
So
for
that's
this.
even less.
Man, Shelly eats a lot of popcorn. I was going, oh well, we'll put it in there. But nobody commented like that, so at least that I saw.
What I'm trying to say is it's not a lot. It's very, very little.
Well,
It
thank
just
you,
makes it
Bryson,
look
but
like a lot.
It kind of is a lot of popcorn.
It isn't the popcorn.
But the
it's
dogs help
the
me.
butter. But you don't do yours with butter.
There's no butter on
No.
there. No.
You use
We
coconut
switched to
oil and-
coconut
We
oil,
found this.
yeah.
We found this little secret that you can make your popcorn taste like that theater popcorn. I don't know if you ever had theater popcorn, but it always tastes better than like indie popcorn you can make at home. And we found if you take like a powdered salt and you add that to your popcorn mix, it makes it taste like theater popcorn.
And coconut oil.
And you need coconut oil
You
too.
actually take the salt and
Grind it.
grind it down to fine powder, so it disperses more. And then we do the coconut oil, and then you could add butter too. But we've enjoyed
I
the
like
coconut oil.
Yeah, I like what they do at the theater.
Yeah.
Is when they're squirting the butter on. Is that Nike? Yeah, just keep that going. Just keep that pumping. There we go.
Yeah.
Some people really like their butter, but I don't know. I prefer it without the butter now that the salt and oil has been in, in there.
And then we use the sprouted popcorn too, which I'm so tickled. There are more than one company now that is producing sprouted kernels. So that's kind of fun to be able to pop them, and they pop pretty good too. And so that's...
It's pretty amazing that they can sprout. You think that would ruin the popcorn once it's sprouted. Oh, it's gone, but no, it still pops. It's still
it's amazing how they've got the science down on that.
Each kernel they actually glue shut after it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, after it expands to get the water in it, because the little sprout thing. It's just there's a lot of people employed doing that.
It's all done by hand, from what I've heard too.
Throwing a little line in and
magnifying glass and pair of tweezers. It's a tough job.
It is. Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it.
That's right.
Yep.
Another great comment that came through.
And that's?
Bob Ross. There's a lot of Bob Ross lovers out there. A lot of people who know who Bob Ross is.
Yeah. It was kind of neat because Bob Ross, he's obviously was doing this a long time ago, and he made this comeback. He passed away, of course, but there's this comeback of people that just really enjoy him because of that. He's so optimistic, positive, and encouraging for creativity. Lots of comments about the fact that was painted on canvas, which
that's what it's okay.
You said that right away.
Yeah, I did. When he said it, I thought, well, what's canvas? But if you think about it, paper is really just small canvas. The fibers are smaller, and they're not roped together to create canvas, right?
Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it is.
I thought canvas was cotton.
Well, it's still a fiber. It's still a fiber. It's still organic.
It's still in the
tree family. So if you just keep bending this around, you guys have come over to our side about paper.
Do you have two who actually timed? The reason none of that was cut is that Bryson wanted us to time him to see how long he would paint. So we didn't cut anything in there. So normally that would be a little cut up, and we would protect the intelligence of Bryson.
Of course.
But we didn't. We had to run it straight.
The person who discovered the time and actually timed it was...
Yeah, it was a Chad's show. He says, yes, it was 1 minute and 30 seconds painting on those trees. 1
minute and 30 seconds. Oh, yeah.
Great. This cute little tree lives here.
Yes.
I really thought it was under a minute, I'll be honest with you. But I was so busy yapping that I probably could have sped that way up if I was not yapping.
We could have fixed it with editing, but we just wanted to be
true to our word.
There was somebody who said if he had used a roller, could have got it done in just seconds. But
that's no fun.
That's no fun.
Takes the joy right out of it.
No. He's
you can't
not,
feel like did Bob Ross
wrong.
pull out a 9-inch roller and start roll things? No,
right.
He used a great.
That would have been hilarious to see him pull out rollers and be like.
That's great. Jadeite Lady 173 Mary says, I'm wondering how that whiteboard will hold up under different weather conditions. Rain, snow, moisture, maybe sag. Are you going to cap off the front to keep the rain and snow from blowing under there?
There were several comments about that. I have a good thought that since there's about 315 days of sun in the area that we live in, when it rains hard, but it usually dries out so fast.
It really
so our
does.
climate is so dry. It's not going to be a snow worry. A lot of people live in snow areas where water gets in there and then it freezes and it expands and it ruins wood. We're not going to have that problem, but we will have some moisture coming through. We have a lot of caulking that we put in there and painting to help
we're gonna
do that.
We're going to
so it won't
seal. One of the concerns that I know I had is without putting insulation in there, it leaves a perfect cavity for a beehive. It's like perfect home for that. So we want to make sure when we do this too, we're going to seal everything, every little hole there is. Just keep insects and other animals.
Back to the weather, though. It's not that that's not a concern. That is one of our concerns. We're hoping that it'll turn out okay with the things that you guys are doing.
And everything's pretty covered. I mean, it's really covered
so
up.
I think one of the biggest things we have out here is actually wind, and the wind, how it can really affect things.
Yeah.
So we put some extra straps down on it to, kind of help hold it down. I think that was one of our
falls off that with
that was definitely one of our biggest concerns because we get gusts out here that are pretty extensive, but for the most part, when it comes to other weather,
if something happens to it, even during the time when we're very high humid here and we get some problems with it, we'll be sure to report that back to you.
And if it blows off, we'll try to get it on video.
We will try.
Yeah.
And we do get a significant amount. One year we got some pretty good chunk of snow, but I don't think the weight will ever be an issue with that thing. I mean, you can stand anywhere on that roof without it going in. So that's a lot of weight. I weigh a lot, and I can stand up there and not have anything collapse. So.
Did you have another one?
I have the one on the butterfly. Did you have one?
I have one, but let's see. I liked your butterfly one better.
Okay.
Sorry, all the butterfly ones were really good. It's just that what I wanted to talk about was in yours.
Okay, I hope I got the right one here. What's kind of funny is we got several comments that we did not even
Didn't even see it.
We didn't see this, but there were several comments that came in. It's at the 2:27 mark of the video, and it says it looks like the sunflower has a mouth and is speaking.
Yeah. And the one person that I read that I thought was cool that I wanted to respond to this was they got freaked out. You caught that. I didn't catch it. I just look like a butterfly not talking, but just on the...
I mean, Mom, you edited that.
Here it is.
How did you not like...
Nintendo Lunchbox says, I got weirded out. I thought the sunflower had a mouth and was moving. Ooh, it's a butterfly, LOL.
So,
that's great.
Ma, how did you not catch that when editing that?
I don't know.
That's so interesting to me. How there's things you don't even realize that are in there. Even when you're working on the project, you don't even see it. And then all of a sudden later...
somebody else had a great idea here, Shelley. I think you commented a little bit on this one. It says, this is from Kimberly Dahl. Looking good, wouldn't it be cool to fill in that open peak on your patio with colored glass bottles or jars or cop?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, on the
It
floor.
would even look like, stained glass. Maybe it'd reflect the colors onto the patio.
Oh, that's...
So if you're kind of looking out there,
Gosh.
are you seeing that?
That is a really good idea. When I first read her comment, I thought she was speaking of the wall where the eave was. But now I see what she's saying. Oh, goodness, yeah. That is something to think about. I'll have to... Yeah.
Gosh, we're never going to get to that shop. We're going to be like, oh, hey, let's add this
I'll
now, and let's add this.
No, I'll do that later.
Let's end this with the last one. Greg Mooring. He says here, getting rid of those eaves makes you a dis-eaver, Gary. I always thought better of you. I don't know why you didn't think the stucco would stick. Isn't that why they call it stuck-o? Bullet is like, hey, don't put that thing over my nose. It smells like Luna spit. Thanks, Craig.
That's great.
All right. Well, it's been great. Thanks for coming out and being with us and us being with you. We really enjoy this time. I know there's so many comments and so many questions, and I wish we could kind of get to them all. Some of them we have that are out there that are in videos in the past. So if you get a chance and you want to spin backwards and take a look at some of the older stuff, we do hit some of those topics. So we might be able to see some of that information with a little digging and research. Like to go ahead and say goodbye. You ready? Goodbye.
Bye.